what didn't happen in Seattle, and I thought this was particularly interesting. I got an email from, or a note, actually, in the chat room. This is Rotkadam in the chat room. It says, here's what didn't happen at Seattle Pacific University with liberal-minded Washington State, which has fairly restrictive gun laws. A mentally disturbed person having a psychotic episode did not impulsively run out and buy an assault weapon. He also didn't buy an extended clip. Because of this, he didn't get off more than 5 shots, he didn't injure more than 2 people, and he didn't kill anyone. Finally, a good guy who did not have a gun was able to stop the shooter because he had to reload because he didn't have a banana clip. On the other hand, in Vegas, conservative-minded Vegas with very weak gun laws, 3 good guys with guns got blown away by 2 bad guys with guns. It's interesting, the dynamic that's going on here. Even more interesting is, A, the fact that CNN does not call people like the Las Vegas shooters terrorists. Doesn't even call them right-wing. They're afraid to use that phrase. When, you know, these guys putting the Tea Party flag on a dead cop, really? And number 2, that in many states, if you legitimately fear for your life, and legitimately is, you know, defined by your own mental state, this is, you know, this external castle doctrine, the stand your ground laws, you can fire first. And, you know, case in point, George, what's his name, you know, with Trayvon Martin. And so if I'm sitting in a Starbucks and one of these open carry guys walks in with an AR-15 over, or AR-14 slung over his shoulder, and I have a permit to carry a weapon, a concealed weapon, and I pull it out and shoot him dead, might I not be legally justified if I think that this guy might be the next guy who's going to go off in a diner like this couple just did over the weekend? Noel Flasterstein is with us, gun rights advocate, attorney, specializes in Second Amendment and gun rights. GunRightsForYou.com is his website. Hey, Noel, welcome back to the program.
Well, thanks for having me on.
You know, this picture of you, this PR picture of you that you use, has you with a semi-automatic. Well, actually, it's a shotgun, a pump-action shotgun in one hand and a semi-automatic pistol in the other. If you walked into a restaurant, would a patron who was frightened by the presence of those guns not be justified in shooting you dead?
If I took no aggressive action towards them, of course not. In states that permit open carry,
The presence.
I think open carry obviously has a chilling effect of decreasing violence. People, would-be bad guys, aren't going to go into places where people are armed. Therefore, you see all these mass shootings that.
Well, wait a minute. That's simply not true. What happened in Las Vegas is they not only were people armed, there were 2 police officers, and they were well armed, and they went up and killed them both.
I didn't say it ends it all. I said it precipitously decreases it. It lowers the chance of there being violence.
I think what it does is it increases the probability that moms with kids are going to run. I mean, you know, terrorism is, according to the Department of Defense, the threat of violence to instill fear and coerce governments or societies. How is your walking in an open carry posture into a public place not an act of terrorism? Why? How can you call yourself? How can you not call yourself a terrorist if you do that?
If the law permits open carry, and right now there's approximately 44 states which permit open carry. 44 states that permit open carry.
Right. So the law is permitting terrorism right now.
I don't think it's permitting terrorism.
Well, we've got an epidemic of it. More people have been killed by right-wing extremists.
The law permits it. And let's look at these states that have open carry. 44 states. How many? You know, we look at the number of states. This isn't violence happening on a daily basis just because citizens are allowed to open carry. In fact, I think it prevents us from finding ourselves in situations which we recently had in Europe when, you know, the Nazis came to power and other totalitarians came and took over.
Hitler encouraged gun usage and ownership. The guy who had the anti-gun laws was before Hitler. You're talking about the Weimar Republic. Hitler actually, he had gun clubs. He had youth. He said it was a manly thing to own a gun.
They allowed their citizens to have firearms, and in fact, this is why I'm opposed to registration. I used not to be. Weimar Republic. If you could own it, you could be a German citizen and own a firearm. You just had to register it. When the Nazis came to power, they knew right where to go to disarm the population.
And they didn't. They armed the population. The armed population of Germany increased under Hitler. But, you know, this is not a debate about Hitler. This is a debate about the United States. Right now, we have had 34 people since 9/11 killed by open carry right-wing extremists. Every single one of them was carrying in the open. 34 people. There have been 21 people killed by Islamic fundamentalists. Tell me where our problem lies.
You're saying right-wing extremists that we
right-wing terrorists. Excuse me.
Unstable, because the last shootings I've heard, and in a case where people go on a rampage like that, I think the common element is mental, issues.
No, the common element is they're walking around in public with a gun.
Well, there's lots of, there's over 300 million firearms in America, and that's more than we have automobiles. And more people are killed by cars, by teenagers texting while they're driving, than people shooting people. If we look at John Lott,
that doesn't matter, Noel. Come on, that doesn't matter.
Self-defense, a shot's not even fired.
That does not matter.
I stand your ground cases here in Florida. Nothing has, as tragic that happened in the Zimmerman case. All my clients, they didn't even fire their gun. They just displayed it in the defensive posture, and that prevented violence and protected them. And because they're exercising their Second Amendment right, now we got the state coming in saying, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. You committed aggravated assault, when all they did is rightfully protected themselves, as they are guaranteed by our Constitution.
You're not talking about open carry. You're talking about people who have a concealed weapons permit. I'm not opposed to that. I'm talking about open carry. What I'm asserting, Neil, and I have not heard you rebut it, is that walking into a public place in the United States of America in the 21st century displaying firearms is a form of terrorism.
No, it's not.
Then why is it that when this happens, people run?
Of a right.
Why is it that Starbucks and Chipotle and other restaurants have seen fit, as a consequence of people walking in with displaying firearms and terrorizing the patrons of those restaurants, to say, we don't want these terrorists in our restaurants anymore?
Hey, they're allowed, if their state law permits them to opt out, then they're allowed to do that and prohibit people to come in and open carry. There are businesses that will choose to do it. There are businesses that don't. Me personally, if I had a private business that was open to the public, I'd want everybody to come in there and carry, because guess what? I'm not going to have a robber come. They're going to look and say, hey, this isn't the place I'm going to rob. And guess what? They're probably going to say, this probably isn't the place.
So if the Millers walked into your place of business yesterday, you would have been just fine with it until they shot the cops, of course.
I would have been just fine with what yesterday?
Their open carry terrorism.
I'm not fine with open.
They walked into that restaurant, and before they shot the cops, you had people running from that restaurant because they saw the weapons.
I'm not going to limit other people's rights that are responsible than people that are irresponsible or mentally imbalanced. So
you're asserting that the right to terrorize people by open carry is a fundamental right in the Constitution, that terrorism is protected by the Constitution.
You're putting descriptive adjectives in there that you really can't base in reality. In fact, now let's look at Adam Winkler, professor of law, UCLA, wrote a book, Gunfight, about the battle for the right to bear arms in America. One of the things he talked about was the Wild West, 1879.
With the Wild West, virtually every city required you to check your gun with a sheriff before you could walk around in town.
A lot of them had open carry?
No. Noel, read your history. Noel Flasterstein, hang on just a second, Noel.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Noel Flasterstein, gunrightsforyou.com. Thank you, Noel.